Do you know this feeling of stumbling upon a stranger on the internet where you watch a few of their videos and then you get this urge of just wanting to give this person a lot of money? I do, but it's a little bit weird because after being in info for like close to 4 years now, I know that there is not a magic pill. And yet, I still want to pay this person. But I rarely get this feeling. Like 99% of the time, I can't even get through the intro. So why is it that some business coaches are so appealing and thereby makes millions of dollars while others are just scraping by? And how are some fitness coaches literally pulling in millions of dollars a year from diet and workout plans that ChatGPT could have created in like 2 minutes? Because by now, like, we all know that business coaches can make you more money and a fitness coach can get you in better shape. Like, in the end, we're all selling the same transformation. So what's the difference? The answer here isn't better marketing tactics or a secret Russell Brunson funnel. It's something much deeper, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. So in this video, I want to break down the 3 things that separate premium offers from commodity offers. So the first thing, and this one is probably the most misunderstood in like the entire info space, is that most people think premium means flexing. They think it's about the Lamborghinis and the thumbnails, the Rolexes on your wrist, or the penthouse office view. And hey, like, I get it. It looks really, really cool. But it's not really what makes people want to pay you. And in my opinion, it does the opposite. And if it makes people want to pay you, it's the wrong ones. Because when you try to flex material things, you're basically just trying to buy credibility. And your audience can smell that shit from a mile away. Because real premium isn't like about what you own, it's about the effort that you put into everything that you do. So let me try to explain it to you. If you don't care about your content, you probably don't care about your clients. And that's the connection that your audience makes subconsciously before they even talk to you. You know, when someone sees your sloppy thumbnail, messy background, bad audio, and you're rambling with no clear point, their brain goes, if they can't be bothered making a decent free video, imagine how little they care if I pay them $10,000. But the cool thing here is that the inverse is also true. When someone sees clean visuals, intentional branding, clear articulation, nice, and structured thinking, their brain basically goes, holy shit, they care a lot about a free YouTube video. Like, imagine how much they'll care when I pay them. And this is where most people get it wrong, because they again think that premium means an expensive setup, but it doesn't have to. Because in my opinion, I've realized that premium just means intentional. Because it's not really about the camera you use, it's about the composition, you know? It's not really about the microphone, it's about the clarity of your message. And it's not about the editing software. It's about whether every cut has a purpose, and the sound design and the animations and the story that you're trying to tell. And I'll try to give you an example to like really emphasize this from my own journey. Because when I first started the digital coffee shop, my setup was incredibly basic. But I made sure that the lighting was clean, the audio was clear, and like every video actually had a clear structure. The people go nuts when I tell them that I script out every video word by word. Because I'm not trying to impress anyone with gear. What I really wanted to do was that I was trying to show people that I cared. You know, I love running my consulting business, the digital coffee. I love running it so much that I want others to experience the same benefits that I have from running it. And that care of me wanting to give this to other people basically translated into trust. And whenever people trust you, it's also a lot easier to onboard them, because they translate into sales, right? So if you only have to take like one thing away from this first point, it's effort is a luxury signal. When you put in 10 times more effort than your competitors in your free content, your audience basically just assumes that you'll do the same for paying clients, right? And that assumption lets you charge premium prices because people buy conviction. And if you have so much high conviction in your own free content, damn. The second thing is something that took me way too long to figure out. And it's probably the biggest differentiator between a $2,000 offer and a $20,000 offer. Because everyone already knows the destination, right? Everyone knows that there's a better outcome out there. You can make more money, you can get in better shape, and you can scale your business, right? And 2 years ago, these offers printed money because it was unheard of. But now, everyone knows that they can make good money online, and they probably have a good friend or a cousin who makes 6 figures a year from doing silly shit on TikTok, right? Like, premium offers don't sell the destination anymore. They sell the vehicle. So let me run you through it here. People don't buy outcomes, right? They buy the journey towards the outcome. People know that they can make more money, but what are the consequences? What will I have to do to get there? So they want to know, what does it take? What will I need to sacrifice? Which tasks will I do? And what decisions will I have to make? And most importantly, how is your way different from anyone else's? And this is where the unique mechanism comes in. I had to learn this the hard way, right? Because in my first coaching business, the main communication and the only thing that we mentioned in the ads and the content and in our communication was the offer. Make $5,000 a month within 180 days or you get your money back. And that was the vehicle, like, or at least that's what I thought it was. Like, the vehicle is the business model. But really what this coaching business came down to was just a promise. And promises these days are commodities. Anyone can promise an outcome. Everyone can have testimonials or student wins or whatever it is. And hey, look at these people making more money. But people don't want that, right? What people actually want is a clear, named, step-by-step process that only you can deliver. So when I started my consulting business, my one-on-one 15 months ago, I had to figure out my unique way of doing things. And it wasn't easy. It takes time to come up with something original. So I spent months trying to boil down everything that I did for myself, for my clients, into a framework that actually made sense. And then one day on Bali with a few friends, it hit me. The digital coffee shop. The similarities were just too big to ignore. Few but loyal and returning clients, profit over revenue, no flashy marketing, just focus on having an amazing product, the coffee, right? And I realized that my last coaching business was a Starbucks with all the fancy offers, expansion, all the locations, and like lots of marketing. Buy one coffee, get one free. Now we don't do that around here. But this time it was different, all right? Because this was a small coffee shop where people came back because they loved the coffee, not because of a fancy offer. And suddenly, I had found my vehicle. So what I did was that I started doing everything and communicating everything through stories and analogies of coffee. Because people understand stories more than they do with anything. So I branded my social accounts with help from a designer, and like everything that I did was with the digital coffee shop story in mind. And it worked incredibly well. Because suddenly, in a crowded room filled with consultants and coaches who were all screaming about how much money they could make you, their guarantees and all of the sales calls and shitty leads that they would promise you, I stood out, because I'm the only person in this world who runs a digital coffee shop. And hey, I'll admit it, like it wasn't easy in the beginning, and always when you do something a little bit different, people think that you're nuts. And it took some time for people to like really understand the idea, the concept. And I also had people like here in Denmark come up to me and say like, hey Fred, did you actually open a coffee shop? But I kept at it. And slowly and surely, people started to get the idea. And now it gets me amazing clients who want to buy into this universe. They've understood the idea. They've taken a lot of time and energy to understand my story, my model, and the way that I do things, right? And it's also a lot easier for me to communicate the stuff that I'm doing because I can tell stories. So overall, focusing on my brand and unique mechanism is just a game changer. And now it's also a key process of me like working with my clients. It's turning their story, their achievements, their knowledge into their version of coffee. So here's the takeaway. When talking about creating a premium offer, the destination is a commodity and the vehicle is the premium. So when you can articulate exactly how you get results, the process, the sacrifices, the decisions, then you start separating yourself from everyone else, and then you can actually justify 10x the prices because you're the only person in the world that offers it, right? Then we have the third thing, which is probably the most counterintuitive thing you'll ever hear. And it's something that I resisted for a long time because I thought it felt like weakness to me. But it turned out that embracing my weakness was actually one of my biggest strengths, because nobody wants to work with Mr. Perfect, who has it all figured out. Because that person is intimidating, like unrelatable, and frankly, very unbelievable. Premium buyers want someone like themselves, right? Someone who's figured out their specific path and not someone who's perfect at everything. A good example is that I hate sales calls, and I will also say that I suck at sales. And most consultants would never admit that, right? But I openly say in my content all the time, I don't like sales calls and I'm not good at it. So what I've done instead is that I've built a content ecosystem that does the selling for me. And then the funny thing started happening, because the prospects and the people that I talk to and reach out to me are like, holy shit, I hate sales too. And if he can build a business without sales calls and having to convince people all the time, then maybe I can too. And then I started doubling down on my weaknesses. I don't like managing big teams. And literally 2 years ago, I flexed having a 14-person team that I didn't like running. But now I just say, I don't want to manage a big team. So I only have one full-time person in my business. And can you guess what happened? Well, I started attracting people who also hated their big-ass teams and operations. And this is what I call strategic sucking. It's not complaining or making excuses. It's basically just showing what you're not good at and how you've designed your business around the things you suck at. And here's why it works. Because when you share the things that you suck at, there are 3 things that happens. The first one is that you become extremely relatable. People will have this feeling of, hey, this person is like me, and that creates an enormous amount of trust, which is the second thing, right? They can see that I'm honest, and I'm not selling them on a dream, so they would rather work with someone like me instead of the guy across the street who got it all figured out. That's not relatable. And number 3, there's hope, right? If Fred can sell without sales calls, then I can probably too, because I'm like him, you know? And all of these things is like incredibly powerful, because premium isn't about being perfect. It's about being real. And when you show prospects that you've built a successful business despite your flaws, or even because like you've literally designed the business around them, not to protect, but to like around them, they'll see themselves in you. And when they see themselves in you, they trust you. And when they trust you, price becomes irrelevant, because again, there's only one you. So when I try to explain this to clients, it's like the 3 things works together, right? Because effort shows them that you care. 2, unique mechanisms show them that you have a clear path, conviction. And 3, shows them that they can see themselves in you. So it's care plus clarity plus connection equals a premium offer. And when all 3 of these are present in your business and in your communication, that's when you get this feeling of, I need to give this person some money. And that's exactly what you want, right? Then you don't need many clients, you just need a few. So to wrap this up, stop trying to be perfect, stop flexing material shit, and stop only talking about the destination. Instead, show effort in everything you do, build a unique mechanism that is true to you and only you can deliver, and be honest about what you're not great at. And not just honest, fucking hug it. And that's how you build a consulting business so premium that people will beg you to buy.